Hey everyone, today we're going to talk about 5 signs that your baby needs sleep training. A lot of these things can go hand in hand, and sometimes you might see these signs working together and sometimes you'll see them separately. So it's not like an all or nothing thing. You can have a couple of these signs, you can have all of these signs, or you can have just 1 or 2. But let's jump right in. Sign number 1 is that your baby has frequent wake-ups during the night. So when your baby is in a deep sleep, he's getting an increased blood flow to his muscles, tissue repair is happening, and there's actually hormones released that promote growth and development. And when your baby is getting fragmented sleep, all of those things aren't happening. I mean, they're happening, but they're not happening to the magnitude that they should be happening. So if your baby is waking up every half hour to hour during the night, then you might need to sleep train your baby. Sign number 2 that you need to sleep train your baby is if your baby is heavily relying on sleep props. Now, a sleep prop is anything from rocking your baby to sleep, feeding your baby to sleep, giving your baby a pacifier, and the baby needing that in order to sleep. That's a sleep prop. But it's only a problem when your baby is waking frequently and you have to do this certain thing to get your baby back to sleep. I'm working with a client right now who they have to go in their baby's room every hour to 2 hours and replace the pacifier for the baby and put it back in her mouth so that she can go back to sleep. And we're working towards lessening her dependence on that so that she'll start sleeping on her own. So they knew that they needed sleep training, so they got in touch with me. Sign number 3 that your baby needs sleep training is difficult bedtimes. I had another client in the past who said that when they would walk towards the baby's nursery, that she would just clench up and hold on for dear life because she knew that it was bedtime and she didn't want to go to bed. And that's like the saddest thing in the world, because bedtime, your bedtime routine should be soothing, it should be calming, it should be a bonding experience. It should not be a battle for either the parents or the child. And if you are having that battle at bedtime, then chances are your baby needs sleep training. Sign number 4 is a pretty obvious one, but if you have a cranky baby, that means that your baby is not getting enough sleep. And typically a cranky baby is a baby that's going to be very clingy, a baby that needs you to hold them all day, every day, which obviously we all want to hold our babies all the time, but sometimes you just can't. Not only can you like physically and emotionally not just be like completely attached 24/7, but I mean, if you have more than 1 kid, it gets difficult. And if you want to get things done around the house, it gets difficult. These cranky babies do not enjoy playing on their own, and they also don't enjoy practicing their milestones. I've seen young babies who hate tummy time and refuse to try and roll over because they're fussy and cranky and just overtired. So your baby might need sleep training. On the contrary, sign number 5 is that your baby is often hyper. I have heard so many times people say, my baby's been up for 6 hours, he's completely wired, he's all over the place, and he's not tired, so I'm not gonna put him to bed. Well, that is a sign that your baby is overtired and running on adrenaline and cortisol, which keeps them awake because they are just running on adrenaline. And adrenaline and cortisol are actually the hormones that are produced during stress. So nobody wants their baby feeling stressed and having to run on adrenaline. Oftentimes, a child who is not getting the appropriate amount of sleep, they display the same behaviors as ADHD. And studies have shown that when these babies are getting the appropriate amount of sleep, the symptoms of ADHD go away. So making sure that your baby has the appropriate amount of sleep is so important. Now, if you've listened to all these tips and you decide, yes, my baby needs sleep training, I am ready, we need to do this, I have some tips for you. Tip number 1, make sure that when you're ready to sleep train that you're not going to be traveling for a couple weeks, that your baby hasn't been sick, or that you don't have any major life changes coming up. Like if you start a new job and your baby has to go to daycare or switch daycares or just any kind of childcare provider change, that's going to be enough for your baby in the first place. If you're having a baby, you're going to want to think way ahead. Another tip is to be prepared to put the work in. Sleep training is not easy. It's not an overnight success. It's going to take a week to 2 weeks and maybe even a month if you need to improve both naps and overnight sleep. Typically, naps are harder and they do take longer to improve. And then my last tip is to create a plan, or to invest in a sleep consultant such as myself to guide you through. The number one thing that I tell all of my clients is that consistency is key. So as long as you're consistent, then it should work. And the best thing about having an actual sleep consultant is that if something isn't working for your particular baby, then you can work together to find a resolution that will help your baby. It's not a cookie cutter formula. Not every parent gets the same plan, and actually I individually write every single plan. So no two babies are the same, no two sleep plans are the same. So if you guys want some help, check out my website down below in the description box, and we can set up a free 15-minute consultation and we will get your baby sleeping. So good luck, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Bye!